So I managed to get my hands on one of these. Now, it's kind of a mixed bag right now. I'm hearing some people are finding them pretty easily and other people are kind of having a hard time. I guess it just depends on your luck, so we'll just kind of go with that. But anyways, yeah, I was able to get my hands on one of these. I've been excited to unbox it and check it out. So let's unbox it. And of course, I have my first generation Switch here, so we'll be able to do a little bit of size comparison as I'm unboxing it, because I'm definitely interested in seeing how much bigger it is than the original OG Switch. So let's unbox this guy. Okay, so from what I've seen online, okay, yeah, mine doesn't have any kind of seal right here, so you just kind of have to pry it open. And then we're going to pop this guy out right here, and then I'll lay it down. And then here it is. Okay, yeah, so it is definitely bigger than, because here's the thing. As we unbox this, I mean, I know there's been videos and everything, that's all I've seen. I've yet to actually see this in person, so this is my first time seeing this thing in person. So let me see, I'll just pry this guy out first, trying to be very careful here and everything. Okay, and here it is, the actual Switch itself. Let's get it out. Come on, there we go. Okay, yeah, so here is the actual Switch itself. Yeah, I definitely heard correctly. It's definitely heavier than the original one. I kind of have the original one right over here. Yeah, this thing is definitely lighter, although I will say, as much as it is heavier, it's not an uncomfortable heavy. It's actually kind of just like the perfect weight. Not too light, not too heavy, just kind of right in the middle and everything. And yeah, it's pretty nice, I have to admit. I'm liking the bigger screen for sure and everything. And here is the back. Definitely want to kind of mess with this kickstand a little bit, because I was hearing that this is a little flimsy. Yeah, it's kind of in the middle. I would say it's kind of flimsy, but at the same time, you can tell that, under the right circumstances, like all the way down, like it'll hold pretty strong. But yeah, there's a little bit of flimsiness to it, I have to admit. But I mean, it's still good for now, and this is obviously the first generation of this particular console that Nintendo's making, so you're going to have stuff like that. So I will put this guy to the side right here, and let's get a look at the Joy-Cons. I've been definitely wanting to try these out, see how much better these feel. Oh yeah, that is much nicer. It fits in the hand much better. For people who have bigger hands, this is going to be a godsend right here, because I remember when the Switch first came out with the original one, we get the little Joy-Con, as I call it, from the first one. Yeah, you can look at the comparison here. Again, it's not substantially bigger, but it's big enough to notice. I remember when the Switch first came out, people were like really having a hard time with these controllers, with the first Joy-Con, because it just didn't fit in some people's hands and their fingers were too big and they'd hit other buttons and everything like that when they're trying to hit one button. So I think that the bigger Joy-Cons are definitely going to really help some people out for it to be more comfortable while you're playing, since it'll fit more people's hand sizes. So that's definitely nice. The Joy-Cons too, they feel much better. Yeah, they definitely feel much better in the hands and everything. They even fit, I don't have very big hands, but these definitely fit in my hands much better than these itty bitty little guys over here. So we'll put that to the side. But yeah, the Joy-Cons are very, very nice. I'm very happy Nintendo made them bigger. The analog sticks, they feel nicer for sure than the older one. The old one actually feels really dinky now after messing with this. But yeah, these are much better and everything. Oh yeah, they have a much better kind of movement. You can feel it kind of slides around a little bit better. All right, that's nice. Yeah, and the buttons are bigger, and that definitely helps as well. You can also see, if you look really, really closely. Yeah, all right, that's a little bit better. You can see right in there, that's where the laser is for the mouse functionality that you can be able to use for certain games, which is nice because, for people who like to use mouse and keyboard for PC, this might be something that, they'll feel a little bit more at home with for the most part. But one last thing before we move on, I want to feel these buttons. Yeah, these definitely feel better. They're not, I mean, compared to these ones just, I don't know. They're so, like, compared to the other ones, like, you see how small this guy is compared to this. This is an actual button. This is like a sync button. The sync buttons are usually like itty bitty and you can barely find them. Yeah, definitely a massive improvement. This is like a big thing I wanted to try was these buttons, and they're definitely better than the original ones. So kudos to Nintendo there. I'm already liking the different size of the controllers here. They just kind of fit in the hand a little bit better. Okay, so let's move on here. Let's see if I can pry this open. Okay, our good old instruction manual, health and safety, so that you know what you're dealing with all the flashes and whatnot. We'll move that. So here is the HDMI cable. It is an ultra high speed HDMI cable. Not bad. Definitely good to have that. I would imagine that's standard nowadays for all. And here are the Joy-Con straps. I'll take one of them out so we can get a pretty good look at it. Here it is. Take out the blue one. Yeah, okay, so these are essentially, you know, just a little add-on that you can put right on here, and they have these kind of nice little pads here that are used for the mouse functionality. There we go, finally focused. They can be used for the mouse functionality. I can just throw this on here like that. Come on. Oh, okay, never mind, you gotta go like that. There we go, snaps on real easily. Yeah, and then you see you have a pad right here and a pad right here so that when you're using it as a mouse, it kind of glides on whatever surface. Nintendo says you can put it like on your leg. It'll be able to, you know, still work pretty well. I imagine as long as it's turned down like this, like a mouse, it'll work just fine. That's what I've seen online. And then you same thing to remove this from the Switch itself. You just kind of push this button back here and it should pop it right off, just like that. Okay, so put that to the side. That's good. I'll move this out of the way. So let's go to the next part. It's a whole nother layer down here. And okay, so next is the Joy-Con grip, I believe it's called, where you're able to put the Joy-Cons on here and use this as a more traditional controller. All right, before I even do the Switch, this is going to be my first time putting it on the Joy-Con grip. I have yet to experience the magnets. Okay, that's nice. It's not as crazy as people kind of make it seem, but it's really nice functionality that it just snaps right in there, and it's just really, really easy. It just kind of goes the rest of the way as you put it in there, and then you just click on the back to remove them. Okay. It's new out of the box, so it feels a little stiff, but I imagine over time it'll feel a little bit more fluid with that. But okay, that's pretty good. There's not much else to say other than that. It's the Joy-Con grip. Here is the power brick, and oh boy, yeah, this is definitely hefty here. It's definitely got some weight to it as well. Yep, there is all the information on there, and then the Nintendo branding. Yeah, this is definitely a hefty power supply, that is for sure. Okay, so not much more to say about that. And then what is this? Okay, and this is the power cable. This is your basic kind of USB-C to USB-C for the dock and to power, to connect to the other side of the power brick. Okay, and that's a wire. Once again, there's only so many things to say about some of these things. Okay, come on. There it is. Okay, and here is the other really big piece, which is the dock itself. All right, there's, oops, upside down. Yep, and here is the Switch dock. Okay, it feels definitely heavier, and that's to be expected because it does have a fan in the back. I believe it's right about here, and that obviously is really good because it'll cool off the Switch and it won't get as hot as the original one kind of did in the dock. And then you can remove this, clips out just like the older one did, and you have your USB-C for power, you have your HDMI cable, and Nintendo very generously added a Ethernet cable so that you can do a wired connection if you want to do that for your internet connection. If you are able to do that, I always recommend doing it because you just have a much more stable connection. And we all know how Nintendo Online usually is. They are, you know, some of the servers are not always the best and they drop frames. Interestingly enough, it says I got the Mario Kart bundle, but I don't see where my code is. Huh. Usually there's supposed to be a code in here. I'll have to probably look around for that. Okay, so in case you're wondering about the code, I actually looked that up on Reddit really quick. I guess I got the variation that does not come with the actual code. It's already on the eShop and you just have to go there and download it. So real quick to let you guys know, I just learned if you get this particular box like I did that has Mario on the bottom and it has full game download and everything, then the Mario Kart is already on the console. You just have to go to the eShop and download it. If you get a Nintendo Switch box that doesn't have Mario down here, but it has like a sticker put up right about here on the box, then you'll get a download code. So I just looked that up on Reddit, and now I know, which is good because I was kind of freaking out because I thought I was supposed to get a code, but not in this particular variation of the console. So that's a little weird, but anyways, so here are the two consoles side by side. You could see that the Switch 2 kind of is like, it's like a behemoth compared to the smaller Switch. It is definitely noticeably bigger by any means, whether you see it on camera or like I am in person. But one thing that's interesting I noticed is that the thickness is kind of almost on par with each other. It's not really any different in thickness. This guy obviously feels much heavier than this one does, but even then, the thickness of the console is just about the same. And I got to give Nintendo credit is that they made a much beefier system, but also kept the size factor kind of the same, at least for the width. So that is definitely pretty cool. But yeah, that is kind of both of them side by side if you wanted to get a good look. Okay, so now that we've got everything unboxed, I think it's time to do the setup. So the power button is right up here, like it used to be, right next to the volume button. And so we're just going to push that. I don't know if, oh, okay, you just had to push it. I wasn't sure if you had to hold it down or not. Come on. Nice. Very soothing music. All right. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like turned on. I could definitely see that it's an LCD screen, not the OLED screen, especially because my uh, other Switch obviously is the OLED. But yeah, this is, yeah, it still looks nice though, just because of its size for the most part. I'm definitely interested to see what games look like running on it. But anyways, yes, we'll go English in the US. We are in the Americas. Yeah, like all of us, I totally read that. Okay, so I got the internet going. I didn't want to put that on camera because I don't need people to know all that. So I'm on the West Coast. Let's do that. Ready to update the system. Let's update. Now what I'm interested to see here is that, is it like the Switch 1 where the updates are fairly quick? Usually the Switch 1 updates, yeah, it seems like they still have that same kind of speed. I remember the Switch 1 updates were like definitely much faster than other consoles or other kind of updates that you would have. Okay, well, there it goes. Yeah, that was it. Not too bad whatsoever. Okay, and I'm going to do a system transfer. Let's see, start system transfer. Yeah, so here is the new thing too as well, where if you're coming from the original Switch, you're able to use, just typical micro SD cards, but now with the new Switch 2, you have to use a micro express SD card. So that's kind of a new thing too. Some people have issues with that because the express micro SD cards are a little pricey. And so, that's just kind of how it is with them. But, I mean, that's just part of it. Okay, so we are starting the switch transfer from the system from my old one. Oh, now I got to connect the first one to this AC adapter. Oh my God, it's it's one process after the other. All right, hold on. Okay, and the system transfer is complete. Let's see what else there is. Theme color for the source system will be carried over. So I think mine was black, so it should go from black, because for now, your theme color in the back could either be white or black. But I have heard that Nintendo is apparently going to be adding different kind of themes down the line, so that should be pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, let's hit OK. And then setup complete. That's it. We just got to hit the home button, and then that is it. Let's see what it does. Nice. Okay, so it looks like it still has to download a lot of my games here. I can see it's already starting to download Mario Kart 8 and Smash Bros, Sonic Origins. A lot of stuff needs to be downloaded, so the transfer must have been mostly just data and what games were on there. So yeah, this is the real side of it. Is people show system transfers, but they don't always show the nitty gritty where each single thing has to download. All right, well, anyways, I think I'll wrap up the video there. You kind of got the gist of it. So anyways, that is the unboxing and setup of my Nintendo Switch 2. What do you guys think? Do you guys hate this thing like it seems a lot of people do? Are you really enjoying yours? Are you kind of on the fence? Are you waiting for Donkey Kong Bonanza or some other kind of title to come out? Let me know in the comments down below. Till then, guys, I hope you have a good one. See ya.